I'd like to call to order the meeting of September 17, 2019. Would you all please rise for the invocation and pledge allegiance to our flag?
Lord, bless those who hold office in the government of our city. Help them to do their work in a spirit of wisdom, kindness, and justice, and to use their authority to serve our citizens faithfully. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Everyone have their mics on? Becker?
Here.
Souter?
Here.
McBain?
Here.
Liston?
Here.
Bob? Noel?
Here.
Lakeland?
Here.
Willard?
Here.
Hudson?
Here. You all received the meeting minutes from September 3rd, 2019. Any comments or questions on those? Hearing none, we'll accept as submitted. I have some unfortunate news this evening for anyone that may not have heard. Wolf Sloniger passed away yesterday, and so I thought it would be right to reread the proclamation that we did for him upon his retiring 4 years ago already. Whereas Wolf Sloniger served as city council member from January 1992 through December 1996, at which time he became the mayor for the city of Columbiana, serving until October 2006. And during his term as mayor, he fulfilled his duty on the planning commission, and when he stepped down as mayor in October of 2006, continued his service to the city as the council president on city council from November 2006 until October 2015. Whereas he was notably involved in progressive decisions by the city of Columbiana and to its citizenry, and whereas he exhibited true dedication and distinction to the planning and growth of a constantly evolving and expanding community, and whereas he has earned the admiration and high regard of those with whom he has come into contact and the affection of his fellow public servants, whereas he has willingly and notably demonstrated dedication of purpose for the progress of the city of Columbiana and for economic and aesthetic development of the business environment and residents equally. And now, therefore, we, the council for the city of Columbiana, do hereby proclaim our appreciation to Lowell Sloniger and further express our friendship and good wishes to Lowell, and I would now add into his family, for his years of dedicated service to the city and its citizens. I thought it may be appropriate to have a moment of silence, just to reflect. I know I shared several spirited debates with him, and the more and more I did so, and the more I've sat up here, the more I've learned to respect. You don't have to agree with someone to respect the heart of why they do what they do. So I'd like to honor him with a moment of silence. Anybody that would like our council or anyone else that have a story, anecdote, anything you'd like to share?
I have probably a number of them, but one of them I can remember. There was one of the annexations that I was involved in. There was a rule that actually, I don't know if it became an ordinance, but I guess that I was the one that got the benefit of it from Lowell. As far as annexations and what one of the procedures was that we were going to thereafter file, and it really had to do with the idea of utilities, developers, and landowners paying for all of those themselves. Because before that time, sometimes developers were able to have the city pay for the infrastructure, believe it or not. But it was an annexation that I was involved in, and I can remember Wolf sitting up here and basically stating that it wasn't correct for the municipality to do that. We were still a village at the time, and so after that, it became a rule. So every annexation that came afterwards, developers had to pay, and it was Lowell's motion that night that actually started that. So that's one of the memories I was just thinking of earlier today, that, and I've got lots of them with Lowell. You know, I think everybody up here probably does.
I think Lowell and I think the only, we disagreed on virtually everything. I think the one thing that we agreed was to, start, which wasn't in the packet the week before, to vote on it, because he and I would both show up with things that the other didn't have, and we'd go back and forth with stuff. So that was the only time I think we ever agreed. But I think the funniest one that we disagreed on was Halloween. I think it was like an hour and a half long debate over what day we should have Halloween. So,
and that's on the agenda tonight.
Hope you guys have some time, but it's not Friday night this year.
I was fortunate enough to be assigned Lowell seat, and he was, because of retirement issues, he was forced to retire from the council. And shortly after that, another full council member was also forced to retire. But I was able to talk with Lowell about 4 or 6 months ago. We talked a little bit, and he shared with me that when all that took place, he really thought the city was going to hell, man. 2 new council members up there didn't know what they were doing, or he just didn't know where it was going. He really felt bad about it. Thought the city was in trouble. But he did share with me that over the last 2 or 3 years, he has really been impressed with what's happening in the city, and wish us good luck and just to keep pushing forward. I really took that to heart. I respect him very much.
Well,
Just briefly, I'd like to say that he was on the council that hired me, and I'll be forever grateful for that. He's in my office about a month and a half ago and talked to me, and was a good friend and a good supporter of the police department and everything we were trying to do. Had hard questions for me a lot of times.
I have a little one. The month I spent as the interim manager, and that's when we were going through a lot of the insurance stuff. We were trying to look at insurance and health insurance. And it was in the paper after the day after a council meeting, and I just got flooded with calls and people coming in, trying to hedge all this stuff about their company and all this. And one of the guys came to the next council meeting, and I'm talking to Lowell in the office, and he comes in and he starts on Lowell and me. I think it was before we had the security system. So he comes in and he's being really persistent and really, getting on me about it, and then he starts and turns to Lowell, and Lowell, and Lowell looked at him and goes, "I'm not talking about insurance tonight," and walked out. Some of the guys get lost.
I was here at a meeting one night, and I think the 2 ladies were here, and they said they wanted to complain about water in their basement or something. And somebody said, "Well, where do you ladies live?" And they said, "Right across from Mirror Lake." And he said with a real dry look, he says, "I don't think that's in the city limits." It's so funny how they said it. No, I was talking to everybody, but they kind of lightened below it.
Well, I like the chief, he was on council when I was hired, and I think he was a big part of it, and I've always saved his message when he called to tell me the good news for me, and really appreciate that. And he stopped over the same day that he talked with the chief, and he said that he was really proud of what we've been doing, and last year he had a rough year. I actually got to visit him at the Cleveland Clinic, but I thought he was doing better. But yeah, he'll be missed. Definitely passionate about our city. It's just like, we have so many people that are so passionate. It's really great to be part of it.
Now receive the planning commission meeting minutes of September 10th, 2019. Any comments or questions on those? No one wishing to appear this evening? To the manager's report.
The Chalk event drone footage that, Commissioner Weigel did for it, that's, I think it's up on the website now. If it isn't, it will be in the next day or so. So really good footage of it, pretty neat perspective, and you get to see the people, that were there at that time. A lot of you in this room were there at the same time. I know I saw Brian and Deanne in there. We finished the black top out at the fire station. We've just been waiting for it to dry up there. We were doing compression tests, which is basically taking a truck and driving over it, and it finally met it, so we went ahead and put the top coat on. Last week we had a monthly RCAP committee meeting. The focus meeting was placed on outreach for the students in the area. We're really trying to get the students to be rooted in our community and give them the skills and desire to stay in our community for years to come. And you know, we have some ideas, and Rick and I both reported on it, but we talked about the startup experience where we take some of the young kids over to this event where they learn how to become entrepreneurs, or you know, actually do an entrepreneurial exercise where they take it from a whiteboard all the way to a presentation. It's a really neat thing. That makerspace that we've been talking about, where the kids can come in either during school or after school to work, you know, maybe a 3D printer or vinyl printer. And also potential outreach from YSU Business Incubator. Been in contact with them. At minimum, I hope that they are able to maybe teach some classes, or a class or two down here. The food truck licensee signs, I think they're up now. I did touch base with Birdfish, and after that, and he did reach out to everybody that he's ever worked with, and you know, he's willing to help us go through that. As I mentioned last time, Efficiency Smart is coming up. That contract's coming up. I've got that scheduled for next month for us to consider. As far as technical stuff, on our website, RCAP is working on a new GIS link that will be available on our website. You recall when you saw it in the past, it had some layers there, and that was the economic development tool there. I believe it's going to be better than it was. We've got a lot more bells and whistles, a lot more layers that public's going to be able to use. So that should be coming out in the next month. Our community calendar is online. I'm not sure if you've looked at it. It's pretty neat. It has all the events, private and public events, and there's a filter on there if you just want to do government. You know, it's pretty busy at first, but if you do a filter, it'll filter those out, so you can see when the city council meets, the planning commission, or park board. But more importantly, I think it's a really neat to have a place where anybody in the community can always find out what's going on in Columbiana. And we've got the next couple weekends already up on there, and it's amazing. I mean, there's like 10 events in one day that you can do here. So what that'll do is it'll allow the other, you know, people that are holding events to know what's going on, and, you know, maybe even push them towards the other events. I know we've got the Dying Diesels coming up here in a couple weeks, so that's the 28th, right? And we've got the this weekend, the Oktoberfest. But you'll have to get online and check that event calendar out. It's pretty neat.
Whoever believes it would be a spring break destination.
Yeah. And you know, Tourism Board really did a good job. They, you know, about 18 months ago, they did an analysis on our website and gave us some recommendations. I think there were about 7 bullet points. It took us about 18 months to get it all figured out, and the calendar was the hardest thing, but it's all up and running, and we just had an area city call me this last week and complimented us on our website, so that was pretty cool. The Sirius XM business is up and running again uptown, so that's good. Terra Designs and R&B gave a presentation last week. It's basically an update of the workshop that we did. They plan to give that presentation to the board, the park board, on September 23rd, and they've asked the council to attend that. If you can make that, that'd be great. Basically, they took what we did. That was a 3-day workshop, and they polled us, and this room was, you know, pretty full, and they did a really good job, I think, of incorporating what, you know, what we had, you know, directed them to do. So.
Can I say a word on that?
Yeah.
I would really ask all council members to attend that meeting. They've done a great job on that. They're going to bring that presentation to council and ask council to approve it. And I really wish everybody would come and see it so that they can kind of digest it and give any feedback they want to and be prepared for it. I think they've done an excellent job. Thoughtful and stuff.
Yeah, you'll get to see the exact same presentation that these various entities, you know, saw last week. They presented it, and then like Skip said, it'll be good for you to, before they come back to council with a final plan, to actually, you know, be able to comment on it. And that will let's see. Yeah, that takes place 7 o'clock on the 23rd here in council chambers. We did open the bid for the tree trimming. Yes, next Monday. Yeah. We opened the bids for the tree trimming. We only had 1 bid, but we believe it's a great price. So I'm recommending that we go with that. We did have others call in, but they looked at the bid tabs from last year, and I don't think they could, you know, compete with it. So the Housing Council will be meeting soon to review the CRA's first year. Probably provide us with a summary and recommendations, if any, moving forward. You know, we'd like to be able to find out what 2020 CRA is going to look like as soon as possible. So that's the idea. Let's see, street department. Actually, most of the departments helped on the street fair, both startup and cleanup. I thought it went really well. Just another great event. Lucky to have such a good event in our town. I don't have any numbers, and I didn't talk to Jake. I thought he might be here tonight, but I'm thinking it had to be one of the best years, at least in the last 5 years. I would think it seemed really, really busy. So the street department, just an update that we'll be painting the new pavement soon. We'll be milling and paving in September this year, or September 30th we'll start. Water department, those 5 hydrants are complete, that we'd mentioned a couple councils ago, and we're still working on the landscaping. Water department did host a OTCO distribution course, and we had 12 students, and we were happy to have six people from other entities here, so that was pretty cool, and we met out at the water plant. Wastewater department performed the annual DMRQA, that's the annual testing, and we did maintenance on the oxidation ditch. The pool's closed and drained. They're helping on this landscaping and hydrant for park and cemetery is. Electric department, The 7 and 14 loop that we did is done. The final payment was sent out. It's a pretty big project. Cleaned up the panels for the street fair, and we're finishing up the fiber installation and junction boxes. And we worked on the driveways for both the north and south substations. Point out that there were 60 to 70 locates, again, just within 2 weeks, which means that there were, 62 places that were doing something, and a lot has to do with the gas project that's going on, North Vine Street, Middle Street project. But they're investing a lot of money into the community. And I think that's it, Brian.
You'll receive the bill list for September 17th. Any comments or questions on it? There's no old business. Moving to new business. Due to the length of the ordinances, can I have a motion to read them by title only and B and C as an emergency?
So, second.
Roll call.
Becker?
Yes.
Souter?
Yes.
McBain?
Yes.
Liston?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
First, I need a motion to set trick or treat night for October 31st, 2019 in the city of Columbiana. Unless someone has a better idea.
So moved. It's still gonna be 5 to 7, is that right?
I believe that's the time.
I think somebody just put a should say 4.
No.
Can I recommend 5:15?
There we go.
You're gonna make the kids mad. You just shorten their trick or treat.
Well, I was gonna let them go to 7:30.
Can I be the voice of reason and
Yeah.
leave it like it is?
Have a roll call?
Souter?
Yes.
McBain?
Yes.
Liston?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Becker?
Who wouldn't have the heart to say no?
Yes.
Unless you want your house toilet paper.
I've been so fortunate over the years, it's not. But there's always a first.
Mhm.
Okay, ordinance number 19-0-3016, emergency. An emergency ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with Mike's Tree and Landscape LLC, 800 West Baton Street, Alliance, Ohio, 44601, for the furnishing of tree pruning for the city of Columbiana.
So moved.
Second.
Any comments? Roll call?
McBain?
Yes.
Liston?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Becker?
Yes.
Souter?
Ordinance number 19-0-3017, emergency. The emergency ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with Mike's Tree and Landscape LLC, 800 West Baton Street, Alliance, Ohio, 44601, for the furnishing of tree removal and stump grinding for the city of Columbiana.
So moved.
Second.
Any comments or questions? Roll call?
Liston?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Becker?
Yes.
Souter?
Yes.
McBain?
Yes.
Anyone wishing to address council this evening? No? Council comment.
I would just like to expand a little bit on what, Lance said in his presentation. This RCAP group that we have going, it's really been an interesting process.
And at the last meeting, I'd like to back up and say that one of the things we've learned from the Youngstown Business Incubator is because of the day of electronics, many people will have jobs where they can work out of their homes on their computer. That's gonna be the future. You don't necessarily have to move to, you know, California to get a job, because a lot of times you can do work here. And one of the things we've been talking about is making this an environment as best we can so our young people can develop their skills and their abilities and find out what their interests are. And at the last meeting, I thought it was fantastic. We had both Mr. Manley, the superintendent of Crestview, and Mr. Mook, the superintendent of Columbiana, came to the meeting. They brought some of their staff with them, and we discussed ways that we could coordinate with the schools and because they're working on the same concepts, trying to get their students prepared for the future. And some of the ideas that Lance mentioned with some of the programs that RCAP is working on that will help us finance some of this for our kids to get involved with. And I thought it was a tremendous meeting. The exchange was great. Even having these people sit down and tentatively, I don't know if I should say this, but I think those schools are going to send representatives to come to our meeting, right, Lance? Our monthly meetings. And so we'll have some of their tech people from the different school systems sitting in on these meetings once a month. And I think it's just going to be fantastic. We've got some challenges. For example, we've got to find space to do some of these things. We've got to, there's some things we're going to have to work out, but I think it's really encouraging, and it's so great to be, everybody working together, to try to do the best for a lot of the kids here in our community. So I did want to mention that.
Two issues here, I shouldn't call them issues, two things here that this keeps coming up again and again, and it's a real feather in the city's hat. Lisbon, Tom's article, talking about RCAP and wanting to start looking into it, and they quote Columbiana being involved in it and how good we're doing, things like that. So again, another city's looking at us saying, wow, doing good, we want to be like that. East Liverpool is talking about the pop-up businesses. How's Columbiana bringing business into their areas? Pop-up business. And they said, wow, that's really cool, and they're going to start looking into that. So, we've got Lance to thank for a lot of these ideas that are they're coming to fruition now, and other people are seeing it, other cities are seeing it, and they're saying, how are you doing this stuff? Well, we know. And we got a good group going.
Progressive. We are progressive. And there's no leaf that we don't turn over and see the other side.
That's right.
And I've made mention of this before. Our city is like a circle. A lot of times we were looking at other cities looking into that circle. Now other cities are looking in at us. And, every one of you, Lance, Chief, our citizens, our people here, need to be thanked for allowing us the levity to pursue that. And it's a wonderful thing. To serve up here on this council, gentlemen, and, Ms. Fogg, it's just a great thing. We're growing a city, and all of us are super proud, every one of us that lives in this town.
I just want to be part of a group that we don't always see eye to eye on everything, but the willingness to take the risks and I've been up here for 10 years now in times when it wasn't that way. And it's amazing the difference. I wish it would happen in Washington, D.C. I wish people would put everything aside of how they feel about themselves and just do what they think is right for why they're there. And I think if everyone does that and doesn't worry about their next re-election and just does what they need to do, this is what happens.
Well, I think the point is, we don't always agree with everything that's coming out, but the fact remains, if everybody agrees all the time, that somebody is thinking.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yes, exactly, that's what I'm saying, 'cause, you know, we're thinking, everybody's thinking about things.
I think that, building on that, I think the disagreements we have had on things are often minor, but it's often led to, adding things to ordinances or, ways of doing things that might not have been done if we were just rubber stamping everything that came through.
Right.
And I think that's an important aspect of what we're here for.
Sure, that's exactly right.
Yeah, and that, you know, the synergy that we have going is not possible without everybody working together. You know, we've got council, mayor, planning commission, you know, you just keep going out and out, you know, the chamber, all the other, civic organizations, and the Legion, look how important the Legion is to us, you know? It's amazing, so, then we got the county officials, and, it's really,
White senator.
yeah, it's really good, so, it's great to be part of it.
I'll throw a comment in, you know, I've been out there on a lot of issues for a couple of years, some of you might know, and I've been at a lot of council meetings where I've sat in the audience and it's like, I just want to leave because there's so much tension. I'm not going to mention any of the councils or any of those people, but I mean, you know, the now little over a year that I've spent with all of you, this is a great council. It is honestly one of the best I think I've ever seen. And I've seen them since, 36, 38 years ago. And really, you know, all of you really do an admirable job. You don't always agree on everything, but it's not open hostilities. It's not making everybody sitting out there feel like they want to cringe and just, you know, escape because it's so uncomfortable. So, you know, kudos to all of you. I think you're doing a fantastic job.
Well, we can sit up here and disagree, but then leave here and go over here together. That's what it's all about. Speaking about that.
Yeah.
Did I hear Skip's by?
Sorry about that, throw up like the three of us had to go by ourselves.